James Wilson, a newly retired accountant from Chicago, has always led a meticulously organized life. Mornings were reserved for work and evenings for rest, a predictable routine that left little room for surprises or spontaneity. However, retirement brought a sense of emptiness that James did not expect. He found himself searching for a purpose that would fill his days with the same passion that career had once provided. It was on a sunny Saturday afternoon that James met, almost by chance, at the annual bonsai exhibition at the Chicago Botanical Garden. The tiny trees, each meticulously cared for work of art, immediately captivated him. "How can something so small express such beauty?" he asked one of the exhibitors, an elderly man of Japanese origin named Kenji Takahashi. Kenji, with a welcoming smile, replied, "The beauty of the bonsai is not only in what you see, but in what it evokes in those who observe. Each tree tells a story, you see?" Intrigued and inspired, James decided at that moment that he would learn the art of bonsai. In the following months, James devoted himself earnestly to the study of the basic principles of bonsai. He bought books, watched tutorial videos, and enrolled in a course offered by the botanical garden itself. At first, his attempts were frustrating. His hands, accustomed to handling numbers and reports, seemed clumsy when trying to shape and prune the delicate plants. One morning, while struggling to form a juniper, James was approached by Kenji, who had become a sort of constant presence in his garden visits. Noting James's work, Kenji gently commented, "You're thinking too much. Bonsai is feeling more than doing. Let the tree show you the way." Encouraged by Kenji's words, James began to look at his trees not only as projects to be completed, but as partners in a silent dialogue. He learned to listen to the trees, understanding that every curve of their branches and every leaf that sprouted had a natural direction that he needed to respect and follow. Throughout the year, James's skills grew, and his creations began to reflect a mixture of mathematical precision and artistic sensitivity. He began presenting his trees at local exhibitions, receiving praise for both his technique and the originality of his compositions. More importantly, James found in the bonsai community not only an art that required his attention and care, but also a group of friends and mentors who shared his new passion. Reflecting on his journey, James told Kenji at a chance meeting in the garden, "I never imagined that my retirement would take me that way. Thank you, my friend, for opening my eyes to the beauty and depth of bonsai." Kenji, with a wise eye, replied, "The bonsai isn't just about growing small trees, James. It is about cultivating patience, precision, and above all, a deep connection with the forms of nature. You're just beginning to see how deep this path can be." With these words, James felt not only as a bonsai artist, but as part of a much broader and meaningful tradition. He knew he had a lot to learn, but now he was more than ready to continue his journey. As James Wilson deepened his journey into the bonsai world, simple curiosity turned into an almost sacred devotion. The early hours of the morning, previously devoted to reading the newspaper or solitary walks through the park near his home in Chicago, were now spent in his small garden, where he meticulously cared for his trees. Each tree had a story, a personality that James sought to understand and express through the pruning and careful positioning of each branch and leaf. Despite his enthusiasm and dedication, the path was far from easy. Bonsai is an art that requires not only patience and precision, but also a deep sensitivity to the subtle needs of plants. James faced many challenges, from understanding the specific needs of different species to overcoming the occasional deaths of some of his early trees, moments that led him to question his skill and the very value of his new hobby. On a particularly challenging afternoon, after losing one of his first trees, a small pine tree he had named Hikari, meaning light in Japanese, James felt particularly desolate. The tree had succumbed to a fungal disease, despite his fervent efforts to save it. Sitting in his garden, contemplating the small empty vase, James pondered the fragility of life and the possibility that perhaps he was not destined to be a master of the bonsai. It was Kenji Takahashi, his mentor and friend, who saw the shadow of dismay on his face during an unplanned visit. Sitting next to James, Kenji began to talk about the essence of bonsai, not as an act of absolute control over nature, but as a delicate dance with it. Every tree you plant, every branch you prune, every leaf that falls, it's all part of a larger learning, Kenji explained. It's not just about growing trees, James, it's about growing with them. You learn about nature, yes, but also about yourself. About your ability to persevere, to accept losses, and to celebrate small victories. Inspired by Kenji's words, James decided he would not let the dismay win. He redoubled his efforts, investing more time not only in practice, but also in the study of advanced bonsai techniques. He enrolled in an intensive workshop offered by a renowned bonsai master visiting from the United States, coming directly from Kyoto, Japan. This workshop transformed James' understanding of art by exposing him to deeper, philosophical techniques of cultivation and modeling. Renewed in his commitment, James began experimenting with bolder styles and techniques. He introduced innovative design elements such as the use of natural Lake Michigan stones to complement and enhance the presentation of its trees. These innovations did not go unnoticed. James's creations began to attract attention in the local bonsai community. A year after the workshop, James organized his first solo exhibition at the same Chicago Botanical Garden where it all began. The exhibition, titled Resilience, The Art of Bonsai Through the Eyes of an Apprentice, was a tribute to his personal journey with the bonsai. Visitors from various parts of the state came to see the works of James, which were now not just trees, but statements of perseverance and beauty. The night before the opening of the exhibition, James walked among his creations, gently touching the leaves of a juniper he had shaped to represent the challenges and overcomes of his own life. As he reflected on his journey, he realized that each tree actually told a story, not just of nature, but of human interaction with it, a narrative of struggle, adaptation, and ultimately harmony. With the first morning lights lighting up his garden on the day of the exhibition, James felt a deep connection to each of his creations. He had learned much more than the bonsai technique. He had learned to see beauty in impermanence, to find strength in vulnerability, and to understand that in every little vessel there was a whole universe of lessons waiting to be discovered. After his first solo exhibition, which proved to be a resounding success, James Wilson's career in the bonsai world took an even more promising turn. News of his innovative techniques and the unique expressiveness of his compositions began to spread, pushing the boundaries of Chicago and reaching bonsai enthusiasts in other parts of the United States and eventually the world. International recognition came when James was invited to attend a prestigious exhibition in Tokyo, Japan, the heart of the bonsai tradition. The news of the selection of an American for the event generated some surprise in the global community, given the predominance of Japanese masters in this art. The trip to Japan was not just an opportunity for James to exhibit his work. It was a chance to delve even deeper into the bonsai's historical and cultural roots. Arriving in Tokyo, James felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. While setting up his exhibition, he was able to closely observe the works of some of the world's most renowned bonsai artists. Respect for tradition and meticulousness of detail were evident in each piece. However, rather than feeling intimidated, James saw this as a confirmation that bonsai was a truly universal art form, capable of transcending borders and cultures. The exhibition was a milestone in James' career. His centerpiece, a majestic black pine modeled to represent resilience in the face of adversity, drew attention to both the unique style and the message it carried. During the exhibition, James had the opportunity to share his experiences and learn from the masters present. One of the most exciting moments was when a venerable Japanese bonsai master, after a long contemplation of James's work, approached and, with a respectful nod, said in careful English, "His work breathes with the soul of the trees. You capture the spirit of the bonsai." This validation was more than a compliment. It was a sign of acceptance. James felt a deep gratitude and renewed passion for his art. The exhibition not only solidified his reputation as an innovator in the field of bonsai, but also inspired him to think about how he could contribute to the evolution of art and inspire others. Back in the United States, James's fame as a bonsai master was consolidated. He began receiving invitations to lecture at universities, participate in podcasts on arts and gardening, and write articles for specialized magazines. Each platform was an opportunity for James to share his philosophy that bonsai was not just about growing trees, but about cultivating the soul and connection with nature. Inspired by his international experience and the contacts he had made, James started a project to mentor young artists interested in bonsai. He created workshops and training sessions, both face-to-face and online, reaching a global audience. His teachings focused not only on bonsai techniques, but also on the need for patience, observation, and respect for nature, values he considered essential for any artist. One of James' most rewarding projects was organizing an international bonsai exhibition for new artists, held in Chicago. The event was designed to celebrate diversity and creativity in the world of bonsai, giving emerging artists the chance to showcase their works and learn from others. James made sure that the event was inclusive, highlighting the works of artists from different cultures and backgrounds, demonstrating that bonsai art could be a fertile field for all who were interested in it. During the exhibition, while watching the visitors admiring the various works, James felt an immense satisfaction. He reflected on his own journey, from the first difficulties in his little garden in Chicago to that moment of international celebration. It was evident that James had achieved much more than personal success. He had inspired a new generation of artists to explore and expand the horizons of the bonsai. With tears in his eyes, James walked among the exposed trees, each telling his own story, each a testimony to beauty and human persistence. He knew his journey with the bonsai was far from over, but at that time, he felt deeply grateful for everything he had learned and for the legacy he was beginning to build. As the International Bonsai Exhibition in Chicago closed, James Wilson contemplated the legacy he was beginning to establish. The event had not only been a resounding success, but had also become a meeting place for the global bonsai community, bringing together masters and beginners from around the world. Every tree, every leaf, and every root in that room was an expression of dedication, passion, and a deep respect for the art of bonsai. After decades of work and study, James now reflected on his own journey, from his first failed attempts to becoming an internationally recognized master. More than his individual achievements, however, he prided himself on the impact he had had on the next generation of bonsaists. He knew that inspiring others was his true contribution to the art he loved so much. With the completion of the exhibition, James decided to start an even more ambitious project. He envisioned the creation of an educational center dedicated to bonsai, where people of all ages and backgrounds could learn not only the techniques of art, but also the philosophy and respect for nature that it teaches. James envisioned a space that was not only a place of learning, but also a sanctuary for contemplation and appreciation of natural beauty. The process of establishing the educational center was meticulous and required the collaboration of many talented individuals. Architects, landscape designers, educators, and bonsai masters from around the world contributed their ideas and skills. The result was the Bonsai Harmony Center, located on the outskirts of Chicago, near a natural area that provided a perfect backdrop for the study and practice of bonsai. The center was not only a place to learn the technique of caring for bonsais, but also a community where people could connect with nature and each other on a deeper level. James organized a series of programs and workshops that went beyond traditional bonsai teaching, including classes in meditation, ecology, and the art of patience. He wanted his students not only to master the skills needed to grow bonsai, but also to develop an environmental awareness and a sense of inner tranquility. As the Bonsai Harmony Center grew in popularity, James felt immeasurable satisfaction at seeing people from different parts of the world sharing their experiences and growing together. Entire families, young artists, and the elderly who sought a new passion in life gathered at the center. The energy and enthusiasm in the air was palpable, and the bonsai community flourished under his guidance. One of the most exciting moments for James was during the annual celebration of the Festival of Trees, an event he initiated to showcase the students' work and celebrate the diverse cultures that made up the center's community. During the festival, bonsai trees of all sizes and shapes were displayed, each representing months or even years of care and dedication. The event also included music, dance, and food from different parts of the world, celebrating cultural diversity and unity through the art of bonsai. On these festive days, James enjoyed walking anonymously among visitors, hearing the stories of how the bonsai had touched their lives. He heard stories of healing, of reunions with nature, and of friendships forged in the delicate work of pruning and caring for trees. Each story reinforced James's belief in the transforming power of bonsai, not only as an art form, but as a bridge to mutual understanding and respect between people. As the sun set on the last day of the festival, James sat on a garden bench, watching a young family teach his son to gently water a small bonsai. The boy's laughter and exclamations of admiration, the kindness of the parents' instructions, all spoke to James' heart of a bright future for the bonsai and the world. In this moment of reflection, James knew his legacy was safe. He had transmitted not only his knowledge, but his love for the bonsai and the natural world. He stood up, with a smile on his face and the certainty that even when he was no longer there, the Bonsai Harmony Center would continue to be a place of learning, beauty, and communion. A true testament to the life of a man who turned his passion into a gift to the world. If you liked this exciting story, help us by leaving your like and subscribing to our channel. Until the next story,